You know, whenever I get a care package from Singularity Computers, it's gonna be something good.
NZXT's Build is a quick and easy way to get a new gaming computer. Build a gaming PC on your budget using the built-in configurator and see exactly how your favorite games will perform. Want to build your own PC but still have the NZXT Peace of Mind warranty? Then the new BLD Build It Yourself kit has what you want. Buy it and build it yourself, and NZXT has you covered. To get started configuring or building your next gaming PC, visit the build link in the description below.
If you guys have no idea what Singularity Computers is, it sounds like an SI, but they're not. It's actually a company started by a guy by the name of Daniel, and it has grown into quite the operation. So Daniel was technically an SI, and they do build computers and stuff, but he did very custom, one-off, high-end builds all the way down in Australia and shipped them all over the world. I mean, we're talking like very custom builds. And Daniel saw an opportunity to start making his own custom parts for his builds. And then he went, people are interested in this sort of stuff, and started full manufacturing of very custom pieces that now are, in my opinion, considered affordable. Now, we've used Singularity Computer stuff quite a bit in the past. You saw us recently have to repair a power board that I broke an ARGB header pin off of. We've shown the distribution plate / radiator mount with the D5 pumps in it. I mean, we've showed you their cylindrical reservoirs with some of the clearest acrylic you've probably ever seen. What we have right here is something that they reached out to me a while back. I actually received this probably a month ago, at least a month ago. And this is specifically for my Inwin 925. I had basically said I was thinking about doing an upgrade to my 925 build. And my problem is I like the look of distribution blocks and such, but it's one of those things that everyone kind of does it now. So how do you make it unique? Well, they kind of reached out to me and said, hey, we got these distribution blocks for the 925 that we can make. Now, these are not technically on their website, at least at the time of making this. These are blocks, distribution blocks, and pump reservoir combos that they made specifically for my build, because one of the things that they really specialize in is custom stuff. And now, if it's a custom case or a one-off, Inwin, Lee, I swear they have them on hand, or CADs or something, because they can develop just about anything for any case if you reach out to them. If they have the case, they can manufacture it and make it. Now, I know this sounds like a sponsored video. It's not. This is the kind of stuff that I'm super nerdy about. So they sent me a whole bunch of stuff to take a look at today for my build. That should hopefully give me some options. The reason why there's so much here is I couldn't make up my mind on exactly how I wanted my build to be. Now, you guys know currently in my Inwin 925, which I've dubbed Black Ice, this is just a filler, right? I couldn't decide. See, currently in my Black Ice build, I have, well, 4090 FE in there right now that I was trying to see if it would melt, but it doesn't because I clicked my plugs in all the way. But anyway, it's a vertical mount. And the 925 is a much smaller version of the Inwin 928. And so depth, like length of the case, is a lot shorter than other cases. And the way I have my reservoir and stuff set up, I had a vertical mount in there and all my tubing and stuff. It was originally a 3090 running around it, and the 3090 was the centerpiece of that build. But the problem is with the way that the 12-volt high power plugs are now, it puts it right against the motherboard and interferes with the RAM. So now I'm going, if I use the Strix 4090 for the build, which I was debating on doing because I have a EK water block and active backplate coming for it, that being a vertical mount as well with a short PCB, because the card is maybe this long, but the PCB is short, it's gonna give me the same problem. So I might have to go back to a horizontal mount on that. So what we have here are different options that they've come up with for the 925. Specifically, a vertical mount base plate or mid plate distribution block for a vertical mount and one for a horizontal mount. And the reason why you have these different blocks for that is because of the fact that you have to have clearance for the graphics card mount system. So I'm not entirely sure which one this is right here. Yes, this is the mid plate. This is just a distribution block that is designed to do nothing but bring fluid from here to here in a very pretty manner. Now, as you can see right here, we have this hole. This hole corresponds with that mid plate on the N925, where you can take your GPU power cables and be like, there it is to your graphics card. Obviously, it's RGB as well. That's what this cable is right here. And the RGB side lights across the coolant, just to give you some lighting effects and for it to bounce. You can see it's kind of got this gap right here. It's designed to basically perfectly align in the bottom of your case, where it's just gonna fill in that bottom piece without, interfering with anything. It is designed specifically for that. This is the lucky thing about Singularity having a 925 on hand. They were able to see, and what's cool is while I was going back and forth with them about, well, I don't know about this, how about this, will this fit, what will this look like? They were giving me CAD drawings, 3D CAD models that I thought were photos, which were actually CAD models of what it would look like before I got there. This piece right here, and obviously this is for a horizontal mount graphics card. As you can see, there's no clearance here for the vertical mount bracketry. So anyway, this right here is the distribution block / pump combo. This is what's gonna be going on that back wall where I currently have my reservoir mounted now. My reservoir, it's the Bits Power, kind of a bronzy colored square res combo, which looks really neat. But because I'm gonna be putting the graphics card in the loop, my current build only has a single 360 rad up top. I'm gonna be adding a rad to the front, which means that will no longer clearance. So this distribution plate with a built-in pump, it's very similar to kind of how the Spectre is on the back, only this is something you add to the case. That's loose. Jeez, we're good. We're good. So this is the D5 mount right here. So you have to add the pump to it, but this is the plate that comes for it that makes the pump look pretty. And it's also RGB, there's RGB lights in there. This right here will mount to this. It's metal. This will mount to that. And then this will mount on the back wall of the N925. So what I have right here is a fill port. So this is where I can fill it. And I like that, unlike on the Spectre 3, which we did, and I kind of complained that the fill port was on the same plane as the return line. This, as you can see, is just a little bit higher than the return port right there. So this is where water will return to the block. It'll come down here. The pump, sucks it up from this distribution / reservoir, which is very low capacity, by the way. It takes a while to fill systems once you do it this way. But then this is the outlet right here. So to come out, go off into your system. Again, RGB that's covered underneath this little Singularity Computers, really pretty mirrored plate, and it will shine light up through it that way. So there's that guy. There's your 2 blocks, or your distribution plates. So what is the other stuff? Well, remember that vertical mount I talked about? This is what they came up with for the vertical mount. And this is the kind of stuff I get super nerdy. I love this stuff, and I want to get back to these kinds of builds. So as you can see, if I overlay this, this is this is the motherboard side right here. This is the side the motherboard would be on. So technically, this is going to be kind of like that on it. Potentially more like that. And do you see how they align the pump to the left? One of the things I asked about was like, am I going to still have radiator clearance in the front if this is sticking out? They said yes, there'll be plenty of clearance. So by them aligning it left means that we're still going to have room for a radiator right here in front of it, just like that. So, and you can even see, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this outlet port right here will line up perfectly with this one. So it could just be like a little 90, boop, right down to it, and then off it goes to the rest of the system. So it'll be somewhere like that. This guy right here is the one designed for a vertical mount. So if I overlay this, you can see how this cutout right here matches the cutout for the cables to come up through. But what it also gives us here is some clearance for the GPU mount right here. Because the GPU mount on this particular chassis doesn't mount to the mid plate of the case. It hangs on the IO brackets on the back. And that was one of my biggest complaints about the N925, is there's flex in the metal there, so the graphics card would want to sag even in a vertical mount. And if you're going to add a water block to the front of the card and a water block to the back of the card for active backplate cooling, it gets very heavy, especially when fluid is in there. It's heavier than any other graphics card when you do it that way. I'm fairly certain I'm gonna be going with the horizontal mount once again. I liked the vertical mount because of the fact that it filled in the case. The graphics card being, facing you, the full fan side of it, it just looked big, it filled out the case, and it was a nice centerpiece. Now logistics itself are probably gonna determine the fact that I have to go with a horizontal mount, specifically because of the way that the power cable is. So what's this other stuff, you might ask? Well, do you see how this is clear? See how I can see through it? That's cool and all, but did you know they have a ton of different colors of backing options that you can go with to match your builds? You got black, you got white, you got gold, bronze, silver, all kinds of colors that you can go with. So check this out. Here's our black one, which is dirty. It's gotta be cleaned up. But as soon as it's behind the acrylic, you won't even notice it. So there's a black one for the vertical mount. Here is the silver one, like a mirrored. This is a mirrored one. Here's kind of a orangey one, which has the protective cover on it right now. I don't wanna take it off yet, but here's an orange one. And then this one is like a kind of a gunmetal. And see, I couldn't decide. And we spent a lot of time going back and forth going, well, we're ready to send you the distribution plates. What colors do you want? And I'm like, I can't decide. They went, we'll just send you all of them. So this is what they came up with. And what this does, you take the colored side, you mount it to the back like this, and then you'll see the color through it. So it allows you to add some accents and stuff to it. And I'm gonna probably go with either the gray or the black. See, the black looks really cool through there too. Look at that mirrored finish. So you can see, the mirrored finish through there. I mean, obviously it's dirty right now, there's dust all over it, but so any RGB lighting and stuff, or any lighting at all, will reflect through that nicely. See that? It's like a black chrome, which also looks really cool and could work for this build. So here's the orange one, which is also gonna be reflective. I guess technically they call it gold. So as you can see, it's another gold/orange reflective. So depending on the colors you're gonna go with, they sent me this one because I had thought about going with gold fittings and stuff and kind of changing the whole theme of it, but I couldn't decide. So that's what that looks like. And what we should have over here now are going to be the same things for the other plates. That way all the plates can match, right? So that's for this guy. And you know why I like this? Is because when you go full clear like that, if you're running any cables behind it, it's visible. Now a lot of people would just go with it like this. And once the fluid is in there, I'm probably gonna be running a clear fluid still. So once the fluid and stuff is in there, it's not gonna allow me to hide any cables behind it. But this obviously would. Oh no, you know what these are? These are replacement pieces for these guys right here. So I can change, like there's the matte black one. Ooh, I like the matte black. Here's just the mirrored one. So you can change these little accent pieces that go on there. They're the same for all of them, but the mirror looks nice too, man. And then there's obviously the gold one, which goes like that. I like this one though, this matte black one, honestly. That looks really cool. See what happens when you have like a laser jet, or not a laser jet, but like a laser cutter and acrylic and knowledge. Here in my Singularity Computers, and then these are just the same panels that exist for this piece right here, as I've already showed you. So anyway, again, not a sponsor, other than the fact that they did send these to me for my build. They didn't even ask for a review or a video about these. I decided to do them on my own. If you are looking to take your build to the next level, they don't only sell water cooling stuff. We've showed you guys, they sell these RGB distribution blocks, which are just a single strip of like 10 RGB headers and then an input, so you can have a single place to plug all your RGB in and split the signal. The same thing with fan signals for PWM fans. They have a combo of PWM fan and ARGB splitters, so you have one block to plug in, one lead for your motherboard, one lead for your fans, one for your lighting, and then everything else is connected to that. Again, Singularity Computers is a company that is just thinking outside the box as enthusiast builders, creating solutions to problems that the big companies just don't seem to be able to even fathom how to fix. The biggest drawback to Singularity Computers is that they're in Australia. Man, I feel like if they were in the US or US based, they could get so much done in terms of just the logistics of things. But I don't know how Daniel does it. The shipping is reasonable, the pricing is reasonable. I have no idea. I just know that with what shipping costs for me to ship things to Australia for the winner of the $5,000 stuff who ended up being in Australia, I have no idea how the hell he can stay in business with shipping costs to and from Australia. Clearly he knows the tricks that I don't. So anyway, there you go, guys. You're gonna see more of this stuff on, and I had these here because I was like, let's display them, but I think they're gonna be too tall and tippy. There you go. Yeah. Okay. Maybe not. So anyway, I just wanted to do this video about unboxing it, and kind of getting back to my roots of super excited about this water cooling stuff that a lot of people these days say is totally unnecessary, and you're right, which is what makes it a whole lot of fun. Oh, and then obviously, I forgot to mention, these are the mounting screws for those plates and stuff right here. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Go and check out Singularity Computers. You might be surprised. Again, the pricing is reasonable, the shipping costs are reasonable, and they just may have something for you that you didn't know existed that will take your build to the next level if you're looking to do that. And you can even consult with them about making you something custom if it doesn't exist already. All right, guys, thanks for watching. And as always, we'll see you in the next one. Links down below.